Welcome to the Ultimate Fancast, where fans are the star of the show. Each week, we explore the epic co-created Battle Bunnies franchise from legendary artists Frank and Krista Linatra and the team at Junkbox Studios. Ultimate fans join BBS, Lord L, and Brian as they dive deep into the extraordinary world of the Battle Bunnies. Plus, we'll be your guides and take you backstage with the creators and actors who are captivating family audiences worldwide. Are you ready to meet this week's Ultimate Fan? It's time to fan up and enjoy the show.
Welcome everybody to the third episode of the Ultimate Fancast, man. We got an amazing guest coming up today. He goes by a load of aliases. We've got the Jackberd himself. We've got the Ops Guy. You may know him by his like, I guess his voice captivates you. It captivates me every time he speaks. I'm just listening because I know he does a lot on the back end and he's got a lot to offer all us. But so definitely love to welcome Mike, your Ops Guy, Jackberd himself.
Yay!
What's up,
Love
guys? Happy to be here.
What's
up, man? I had to.
So I like the Yankees
throw it
too.
on.
Like it's not like a one or the other. It's like I like the Yankees too. Like I collect old like Yankees players like for baseball cards. So appreciate that.
So you like the baseball card side of things, but I don't think it's possible that you could like Boston and New York, man. That's like against
No.
those are
So I don't like.
conflicting-
Yeah, I'm in the stadium. I'm definitely a Boston Red Sox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we were cool, but
We were cool before this. You've gone and ruined it, BBS.
No, it's just getting started. Just getting started.
Yeah. Oh, man. We are so excited to have you here. You were one of the co-founders. I mean, this is like, we've got royalty on the cast today. So that's awesome.
yeah, I appreciate the intro too, man. I mean, I'm told I have the voice for radio, so throw the video on, and I guess it's a little bit of a different story. But
Oh, come on.
thrilled to be here, man.
Yeah. I need to grab a hat because, I'm starting to feel left out. Like I need to go with a hat because you guys all got hats on. So
That's what I said the other day.
cover up the grays a little bit, put on the hat. We'll go with the bolt. That's,
I did the same thing, Brian, because BBS was doing some graphics up the other day and you both had hats on and I was like, this the odd one out. And I'm like, I got to throw a hat on. Hat always fixes everything. And my son was like, that's my signature, apparently. I don't go anywhere without a hat. But
yeah. Well, I wear a hat a lot not nowadays because my hair is like really gray. So, like I do it to cover up the grays. But how about this? This is probably a better hat, guys. Can you see the Battle Bunnies? We love the bunnies.
A camo one for sale right now, I think.
Oh, nice.
again, man, welcome Jackberd, welcome Mike, however you want to know. It's hard to work out who we're going to call what because we all know each other as different things in different servers, and it took me a while to realize that your ops guy was Jackberd himself. So seeing you in the top of the charts of the DPS poker games, I'm like, who the hell is this ops guy? But like you said, royalty does a lot on the back end, and he's integral. Like he's got a massive part of the bunnies himself. So definitely every time we're captivated, we listen to what you say, and you're a big part. So it's like we normally like to roll with, if you were going to be a character in the bunnies itself, like who would you like to be? But again, it was justified.
Hey, you can mix that up, Luke. Luke, you can mix that up. We'll ask you, Mike, if you had to be somebody other than Jackberd, who would you be, or who do you want to be inside the bunnies?
Who could I be? I mean, it's hard for me to answer that because this whole journey started with Frank asking me to write the backstory of a bunny. And I chose, I came up with the name Jackberd and just came up with this whole backstory. I mean, if I had to kind of start all over again, I definitely would remain a pirate. I guess I couldn't pick another character. This one is too close to the heart. But I have a great story on how Jackberd came about when you guys want to hear it, because it's definitely worth some time on the show.
I love had me a pirate.
Like we want to hear the story. That was going to come up.
We don't get enough pirates. So far, we have not got enough pirates. I want to stop everything and listen to this.
Yeah, guilty. I keep on persuading everyone to be a shaman when I bring them in. So probably would like to let them choose their path on their own, but hell. What do you
They're
do?
all great. They're all great. They're all unique. I mean, the character set that this world has developed and continues to develop is really exciting, because at the end everything comes around full circle, and there's a purpose to every character that's going to be introduced, as well as the ones that have been here before. And we build the journey, we build the plane as we continue to fly here, right? But when we first got involved, we were talking about, okay, we need to develop who our characters are first and start building the lore, building the story behind that. So I took some time. I remember it vividly. It was a Saturday, and my wife took my daughter to gym class or wherever, and I was like, nope, I got to stay here. I got homework to do. So I mean, I'm not a writer. I'm not this vision. Like, I am an ops guy, right? Like, I am 2 + 2 = 4. There's no there's no fluff in between, right? So for me to sit down and actually write something was quite challenging, right? So to come up with the backstory and everything. So I come up with this whole story about this bunny who had his mom killed by I guess an invading force of Vikings. And as it turns out, like, the bunny's dad ended up being King Harold. And the bunny got pissed and escaped to the Crags of Croy, and ultimately just became this angry pirate that just wanted vengeance on everything. So I was super pumped, right? I had all these stories, I had all these characters, I had all this this backdrop, and all these details in the story. I turned it over to Frank, and like it reminded me of my second grade English paper. Like, it came back with all these red marks and all these red notes, like, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, this is wrong, it's impossible it could be like that, you have to scrap this, we'll just do this. I was like, okay, so what do you want to keep? He's like, we're gonna keep the name. I was like, all right, done.
But wait a second. I
like that.
I've read the book. Like, that backstory you're telling now feels like that's what's in the book. Did Frank come around?
He did not. It's way different from what's in the book. Like, okay. I can pull it up on a future show, and I'll show you what the original script was like. But there was too many discrepancies with things that were already in motion with other characters within the story. Gotcha, yeah. So I mean, at that point, I was just like, dude, whatever you want, it's on you. Like, you asked me to do this, I'm doing it, whatever. And then over time, like, within the community, we had the Pirate channel. It wasn't even called anything other than the Pirate channel. Each particular class had their own channel, and in there we were just having some fun. We were messing around, and we would actually go on the attack in the main chat. I don't know if you guys remember that from before the Genesis launch, but we used to coordinate these attacks where we would go after all like Spartans, or we would go after all shamans, and we would like black out their name and basically like shoot them with cannons from our pirate ship.
Can we get back there? Because that sounds amazing.
yeah, seriously. Where's that chat at? I want to see that. Like, that's
it was fun, man. We had it's actually etched in, it's on the website, it's etched in the Spartan shield. So we attacked the Spartans attacked us, and the community voted on who won the battle. We ended up losing, but theoretically I think we won, so that one is left for campfire tales. But yeah, I mean, look, it evolved to, Doug creating the name of the pirate ship as the Queen's Hair Revenge. We had that vote within that little sub channel within the Battle Bunnies. I mean, the whole process here is really just kind of ideas just thrown on the table, and whatever everybody wants to roll with, we roll with.
No, that's awesome. I'm actually going to bring up Jackberd, because this is your character, right? This is now, did you help with the design of Jackberd with Frank, like the look and his ultimate, badness here? Like, because this guy is sick. He's so cool.
Yep. That's in fact some of the elements there. The rabbit's foot was from my original backstory, because I built this character and then built the backstory afterwards. And there was only a certain amount of traits from series 1 that we had the ability to select from, and the rabbit's foot was one of them. And I always, like, in the story, I had him cutting off the foot of his victims and wearing it around his neck, almost as kind of like a souvenir. And it just made all the sense in the world. So the pirate, the eye patch had a scratch mark from one of the battles. It ripped out his eye, and then he had another eye that was torn out, and it was just a whole part of the backstory, and everything fit in with the assets that we designed here.
Wow. Yeah, no, he's cool. I didn't until you said that about the rabbit's foot. I hadn't really put that together because I own like a one or two that have the rabbit's foot in my collection, and hadn't thought about how that could have come about. Like I wasn't really thinking like your story that you just relayed. So that is awesome.
Yeah, it's not part of the main story, the main lore, of course. This is more of like a side thing, but overall, that was the whole like method behind the madness of creating this character design.
Very cool.
I think having that as your original backstory too, it's going to be forever, your story as well. So it's crazy how we started this from the start, like, and you create your backstory, and like you said, Frank is meticulous with what he does, and it's a couple of little elements we got taken out, but we'll forever know now, especially anyone listening now, that is exactly what that bunny's foot represents to you, and getting to make that with Frank himself as well, like, and having those at your fingertips, like, that is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it was fun.
Now you're the wizard. You're the wizard behind like all those different elements, right? Like, Mike, you're the lord of the spreadsheet, right? That keeps track of all the different traits and who gets what, and all of that stuff. Like, what is that like? Like,
well, I'm definitely not in charge of who gets what. These things are all built out, and then whatever order they come out and go, like, this is no different from any other NFT side of things.
No, Randy. Sorry. I probably miscommunicated that, but yeah, like you're the wizard that puts the spreadsheet together, that keeps track of like all that stuff and randomizes it and does all that stuff. So yeah, no, sorry, I misspoke.
Yeah, it's look, I had no background in this before I got involved. Okay, so I was the kid that was thrown into the deep end with no floaties and said, learn how to swim. Obviously I had help along the way. A lot of this was trial and error, but when it came down to figuring out the solutions, that's really where I think I got the most interest out of it, right? Because it is new, it is emerging, and there's this whole different side of technology that's available now. In an amazing community like this that has story backgrounds, gamification backgrounds, community building backgrounds, business backgrounds. There's other processes to this whole franchise that are well beyond the NFTs, but everything really is the nucleus of everything is really still on this blockchain new technology. So when the whole Spartan launch began, we recognized real early that the only thing we did not understand was the tech. And I'm a civil engineer, right? I'm not a software engineer. I'm not a computer engineer. I'm not but the logic behind it is very similar. So when we were working with Juan, who is the OG godfather of the Spartan contract, he showed me a lot in a very short period of time. In fact, the night before we launched that Spartan contract, he was in Arizona, I was in Florida, and we were pulling all-nighter just to make sure that everything was good to go. So after that was completed, I started digging much deeper into how I can understand the technology and how can I expand it enough just to basically call people out on things that were not necessarily true. That's really where the stage I wanted to get to. And then I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and just trying to see how far we can push the perimeter of our capabilities. And all that is possible because we kept building, especially during a weird time that the industry kind of forced us into. But all I'm doing still is learning with everybody. That's really what it is. I'm trying out different things. I'm testing out different things. The whole concept of dynamic metadata was first put in play on another project, a football project last season before we brought it into the Battle Bunnies. And that really expanded our capabilities to launch sub collections all within the same collection. Like, we broke down so many barriers that were typically in place when it came to NFT collections. And we put that in practice over the course of the Series 1 collection. We introduced many different sub collections, all part of an overall contract. A lot of it was difficult on the back end to manage because you're still dealing with tokens from the same contract. But when you have the artistic ability that Frank and Krista have, when you have the storytelling lore that Jon brings to the table with Food Fight Studios, you bring it all together, and now you wrap it in this technology bundle that you can easily get out there, build, and just try to engage people differently than what they're used to in any other project. And that was really the focus.
Yeah, and it's awesome to hear this from you as well. And like we're the ultimate fan cast here. So yes, you are one of the founders, but you're also an ultimate fan as well. And like for you, in your own like opinion, like what keeps you entertained here? Is it the art itself? Is it the IRL collectibles? Is it the back end stuff that's always, giving you new things to go with? Like what's your why? Why do you love the bunnies so much?
Why do I love the bunnies so much? Because I see what it's doing to the people who are involved in the bunnies, right? I mean, I could believe in something, I could love something, I can give everything I have into something, but if I'm sharing it by myself, it doesn't mean anything, right? So the people that are there and to test these things out, and just in my shoes, right? Test out this technology, put this forth, introduce some of the new things that we're doing from collection to collection, trying to keep things fresh and unique, and to see the excitement and hear the enthusiasm of that. That's really what makes it all worthwhile. Are there hiccups along the way? Yeah. I mean, but we figure out solutions to fix it, right? One of the most prominent examples of, utilizing some of the technology that we put in place and how it related to somebody in the community really appreciating it was one person got their NFT stolen in Series 1. And we just migrated the contract into this new format that we introduced. And typically when you lose an NFT, it's gone, right? I mean, that's just one of the underlying and unfortunate issues that this technology has. There's no 1-800 help me. Like, you're on your own. You're left to your own devices on this. But what we did with that stolen one was we marked it as stolen, and we issued the exact same token later in the collection. So the person who had their NFT stolen got the exact same traits, the exact same bunny, the exact same background, all the attributes, just issued as a separate token. And that was deposited back into their wallet. And they were ecstatic. They couldn't believe that was possible. And we flagged the other one and marked it as stolen, right? Now, later on, that actually worked into the story, right? Because the one that got stolen was a Valkyrie. The Valkyries came with dragon eggs. So that one theoretically had a dragon egg that should have been attached to it. And that is what was ultimately the orphaned dragon egg. And ultimately
I love
dragon.
I love checking out on OpenSea. You can actually see them. You visually change the picture to say that this is a stolen NFT.
The burning ship.
Yeah, man, I love it. And no one would actually even know what it is. Obviously, you go into it, we dive in deep. We'll know because we'll read the traits and we'll go over it. But having that there too, then like no one's going to interact with that trade. No one's going to want to buy that anymore. And, for you guys to negate that, man, like that is like a feat on its own, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, and just to be clear, like we're not going in and manipulating immutable objects, which are NFTs, right? We're just we reissued the exact same attributes, so the entire collection and all the rarity percentages was exactly the same. Like we didn't mess with anything. All we did was we took a stolen NFT out of somebody's hands who stole it, and we reissued it to somebody else, and we made the stolen one virtually worthless. Now, Frank, in his artistic wisdom, had to draw something so badass that somebody might actually want to buy it.
This guy, I want to buy
awesome,
it.
Yeah. I want that on my wall.
Yeah.
And it shows up in the rabbit hole game. Like and in the rabbit hole game, it has like the fire is actually alive. Like you can see the flames and everything. It is so cool. But yeah, that's, you guys have just done some incredible stuff. Like, are there other projects like that? I mean, because I feel like you guys are ahead of other things. Like I see like the things that you're doing in the Dark Dragons with the multiple I don't know the name for it, but like we get the egg, and then we can get the baby, and then we're going to mature the baby, right? And we could have different backgrounds and that kind of stuff. Like I see other projects trying to do some of that stuff, but they want to burn the stuff that you're getting rid of. Like they don't want you to have a record of that other thing. You have to like make some burning activity to get rid of it. Is like, do you see others doing doing what you guys are innovating on with these things, where we're actually going to see the evolution of these NFTs and get to, gamify some of this stuff?
So interactive NFTs are nothing new. I mean, they're some of them were used as pre-reveal images. Some other projects had them, and it allowed users to sort of bounce around between one version of the NFT or another. So I'll give you an example, like a mutated version of a character or a non-mutated version. And I've seen multiple different use cases of this, right? I've seen it where you actually have to put forth a transaction on chain, and then you can have your character start off in one of the desired states. But these are calls to the chain. These are kind of like, user nuisances that they would have to interact with their own tokens on. This is slightly different in the sense that, yes, there's still levers behind the curtain being pulled, right? So I can set whichever state your token you wish. If you like the baby version versus the mature version, you can set that as the one that appears in the collection instead of the other ones. You just let me know and I'd be able to do that. The rest is the interactive component between each of the various states. And this came about because we really wanted to make this Dark Dragon drop super unique, but we also didn't want to lose any of the art, right? There's a lot of effort that's put into every single piece that's drawn, all the color palettes, like all of these are very visual, and we did not want them to go to waste. Even the backgrounds, right? So when we're developing this, like, how far down the rabbit hole could we push this, right? So how many different places can we interact? How many different, interactive components could we add to this? Now, the challenge that I was facing with it, how do you incorporate an icon on top of the art that doesn't interfere with the art in any of the various states? And, we went back and forth a few times on different options, whether it was just a little circle. We ultimately settled on the Dark Scyther drop. And that was really the one that kind of led to the different evolutions of the various states. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that. We have a few different tricks up our sleeves that I'm still in testing with, as far as how far we can really push some of these things. I'll give you guys a little alpha and a little inside baseball on it. So you know how you can, migrate from image to image on any of those respective interactive displays. Well, in some cases, you can actually have it where it bridges you out to a website. So you can actually go through an entire process on a website, a funnel, all through your NFT, right? So I'll give you a practical use case for that. So let's say I have my icon, my dragon egg, my baby dragon, my mature dragon. At some point, there could be a link that appears where it says, okay, go on this super secret quest in this NFT. So you would click on that and it would bring you to a landing page on the Battle Bunnies website. In the Battle Bunnies website, there'll be a questionnaire, a different, just a different interactive piece, form or something that you would fill, answer a question, do a survey, do a trivia, whatever it is. You click enter. That brings you to another page of the website. And you keep going down this rabbit hole. Meanwhile, you're in your NFT. You're not bounced to a different website or a different URL. Like, you are doing this all through your NFT. Your NFT turns into the website. So these are practical use cases that we're trying to, just kind of unfold. It's a little much, but again,
that's awesome.
For where we're at with this, we can take that to so many different levels, right? We can introduce that concept into the TCG. Imagine playing the TCG game inside your NFT. Right. So that's the process. That's the route. That's the forward-looking thinking that we're going to try to break down with that. All the while making the experience for everybody much more engaging and much more fun.
Well, I can definitely say though, Mike, man, it is an honor working under you in this Battle Bunnies venture. Like, even hearing the passion and the drive in your voice now, really solidifies to all of us, why we are here. And, we are investing in the founders, we are investing in you, and hearing this, your mind going crazy with this just makes our minds explode, because we know a quarter of what's going on. And the fact that a lot of this stuff that, like you said, all of it is basically you've been learning as you've been going, and it's amazing to see where you are now opposed to where you were 18 months ago, which you were already killing it 18 months ago with the contracts and the back end. And hearing it and seeing it now just adds to that extra, the love, and getting you onto this ultimate fan as being an ultimate fan, and being a co-partner in the founding members. Like it's crazy that, like, even you are excited to be here just as much as we are as fans. Like we geek out when, like I said, literally every time you speak, it's like, shh, Mike's talking. You're a busy man. And when you jump into our VCs and you say something, you watch that, there'll be 30 of us down there and all listening, and it'll be like quiet, nothing. Before that, we're all just up there shit talking, having fun, mucking around. Jack talk, like, all right, what's going on? What?
I come in, I ruin the party. Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, nobody works under me. We all work together on this, right? Like, again, everybody's rowing in the same direction. We all have a paddle, and that's what makes this fun and even more exciting. I was at a conference about content marketing, and they had these little badges, or these little ribbons that you put on your badge. And one of them said NFT expert, or blockchain expert, Web3 expert. And like, it kind of pissed me off, because when we first got in here, everybody was a self-proclaimed expert, right? So, I mean, again, I wanted to get my knowledge base to a point where if somebody said something, I can either agree or disagree and explain why, and not be like a deer in the headlights on it, and call them out if they were incorrect. So I crossed out the term expert, and I just said user or builder. And I got more comments and communication just based around that icebreaker, because how can you be an expert in something that is so new? It's impossible.
It's
right?
forever evolving.
100%.
It's forever evolving. And again, we are still breaking down massive barriers that were never thought possible 18 months ago. When you deployed a contract 18 months ago, you needed a software developer, you needed a computer engineer, you needed somebody to write a smart contract. You had specific boundaries within that smart contract that you had to live by or die by, which, anybody who's been involved in other projects have seen many of those. We really did not want to say all the options of said of what we were told back then of you guys can't do that. We made it a point to say, yes, we can. And we figured it out.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that is awesome.
Do you have a favorite feature in the contract? Do you have like one that you're like, it was either hard to come by, or one that you're just like, yeah, that's the one that I love the most? Do you have one of those?
So, I mean, like everybody, I'm geeked out by this too, right? So, when new things start coming out, and obviously when we feel confident that we would be able to present it as part of the project, it excites me to get that to the same point too, right? Like with the light eggs and the hatch mechanic that went behind that was to that point anyway, the most intense, I guess, build I've ever done. The spreadsheets and everything behind the scenes, like I had to go out and buy an external hard drive because of all the generative work that I had to put forth, because I had to build that collection essentially 4 times, right? Because I didn't know when these things were going to hatch. So I had to have them ready. So there's a whole library of, mature dragons for tokens that ended up hatching as babies, right? Because I had to build them all. To that point, that was, I guess, the most exciting. Now, the interactive component, all the variations that we're doing in the interactive pieces. But when we start introducing the second version of the Scyther games, I think I kind of let the cat out of the bag on this a couple weeks ago. We're going to see boost points and boost power in each of the NFTs. So however much Scyther you accumulate on the games themselves will be reflective in each of the various tokens. And again, with the football project that we put forth, I mean, when we launched that last season, we were updating the stats of each card on chain every week after each football game. And it gave us a crash course in what ultimately became dynamic metadata, right? So changing changing NFTs names to character names. That was a huge step.
Thank you for doing that, by the way.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, look, again, at the end of the day, it's yours, right? You are a part of this world. Why the hell should it be token number 4 if you want it to be Ralph? You know, like it needs to be whatever you want it to be. Grace, there you go. The backstory too. These are things that we're going to implement as well. And again, it's just a matter of, look, these are the perimeters that we have with whatever we can work with the technology. We are pushing them to the limits until we can't. And then we'll figure out a solution that works in conjunction with everything else that we're doing too. The story, the TCG, the art, all of it, the rabbit hole game. So each step is designed to think 2 steps forward and plan for everything that already happened in the past. And as long as we continue to do that and keep everything kind of condensed, the technology is just another component that just makes this fun.
I think, like, to add to that, like, your transparency is key to this as well. You know, like, everything you do is above board, and you explain what you're doing as you're doing it. And I think that's I'm just trying to work out why I always listen to you. And I think that's one of the things is there's no smoke and mirrors, man. This is what it is. This is what we can do. This is what I want to do. Now let's make it happen. And so far, it's just been nothing but that. You know, you think of some crazy dream, and then all of a sudden we're interacting with our NFTs and not losing all the artwork. And so I think that is key in this space as well. You know, is transparency in this community. You always do what you say you're going to do.
It's business, right? I mean, if you're not transparent in business, then the people you work with won't trust you, and your customers really won't care about you. They won't believe in your brand. They won't believe in the business itself. But I want to add one more thing to your question, Phil. I mean, I guess one of the most exciting components of all this is seeing members of the Battle Bunnies community go out and start their own projects using some of the elements that we've introduced to them, right? Because of it being able to explain this and saying, hey, like, we use a technology called Nifty Kit. Well, this is a way that you can implement a project pretty easily, get things out there. But when it comes down to understanding the components behind the scenes, yeah, you need some assistance with that, give me a call. Shoot me a line. I'll help you out with whatever you need. Somebody's trying to snipe your metadata. This is how you store it. This is how you protect that. So seeing the evolution and the expansion of the community that way, that's how the snowball gets bigger and bigger as it rolls down the hill, right? And again, all this is it's proof of concept. We're making something's working. It's bringing a huge fan base together, a community that loves every component about this, so much so that they're willing to take a spin off of it and create their own communities, which expands, and then everything intertwines from there. One supports the other, the next supports the other. Then these other ones emerge. Like, this is what it's all about, the collaborative business side of it. And I think that once people start understanding the potential of where this technology can go, this is a revenue generating marketing tool and a business to business collaboration tool. And if you can accept those 2 components as the underlying factor of how it would benefit a business, you can start whatever you want and put it on chain.
How many babies do you think you've had, like, from they're now round table, like, and grandbabies and stuff like that, like, your influence on those projects? How many, like, if you had to guess, like, how many do you think have spawned out of just, kind of your work and the alliances that you guys have?
I would say, I mean, we racked our brains on this. I guess it was a few months back, just because I got interviewed by Nifty Kit, and I wanted that information to see, but I think and it's not just within the Battle Bunnies, but I think it was close to around 14 or 15 different projects launched due to that, including some extremely big projects. Vayner Sports Pass is the one that comes to mind. So we built a subcontract for them, and then they started utilizing the technology after we showed them, like, look, this is what you can do with this. So that's a massive, I mean, that's Gary's brother, right? That's AJ.
Yeah.
So, it's exciting to see that side of things, because, you know, again, if we're all able to put forth these great projects, all that does is it breaks down barriers to bring more people into the community, right? And if we can do that successfully in whatever projects we're doing, the collaborative efforts are really going to make all of this worthwhile. The roundtable, this snowball that I referenced earlier, this fan cast, like all of these components are going to kind of come around full circle and it be introduced to every single person that is a collaborative project with each other.
Wow. And the humbleness, the fact that you crossed out expert and we all see you as an expert. I appreciate you saying that. Now I'm still going to think you're an expert because, I listen to you with awe, like every time, but, it's good to know, you are humble as well, man. You remember where you started and you continue to go where you're going to go. And, you're a massive part of the bunnies. You're making ripples in this massive ocean that we have. So it's good to see. Like I said, you said not under you, but I'm glad to be with you on this. And like, we're all in this, like as community members, as everything, like we are a massive team and that's what it is. We listen to each and every single person, even if they're not even a holder. And that's the thing that the bunnies does is, we don't expect you to jump in and mint, but just jump in and have fun, jump in and talk, play the game, jump in the rabbit hole. You don't have to be a holder to jump in the rabbit hole. Non-financial advice, but being a holder, you get better prizes. But, this is what we're creating. Like you said, it's the community, it's the camaraderie, it's the future we're building. We're not here for a quick flip. We're not just here to do a contract and that's it. No, it's forever evolving. The amount of contracts you guys have done since we started isn't just one set and forget. It's constant evolution, constant new things, and how we can continue to bring value to the community, to the project, to the founders, to yourself. Like what can you do? And you're spreading your webs and you're going out into other places, and it's amazing to be a part of.
Yep. And look, I take a lot of the cues from everybody here. I mean, you called me the other night with an amazing idea, right? So there's pieces of that are ultimately going to be worked into future things that we're doing. So again, I don't like to be the guy on the stage giving a lecture. I like to be the guy in the audience taking advice from people that are around me, because again, I could build these awesome things. If nobody liked that interactive component and I took all that time to build it, what good is it? It's just going to live and die on chain. Nobody's going to care. But if people like it, they engage in it, they're excited to filter through everything. I mean, that's what the whole purpose of it is, right? The art lives. It's your token. You get to determine at what stage that particular token lives and exists in.
Yeah, and to your point, like people love variety, so you're giving people variety and you're giving people like that option to interact with it the way that they want to, however they want to, and it might change, as the months happen. One thing that I really love is that when a new person jumps into the Discord, right, it doesn't matter where they land. I always feel like the Battle Bunnies is my home team. Like we have different hats on, right, different logos, but we all have the Battle Bunnies logo as our home team. And someone jumps in, it doesn't matter where they jump in, but it makes me like, I just fill with pride. Like they'll say, oh, the hand-drawn art. Like they'll geek out about that. Or they'll say, there's so many elements. The game is going to be one that people come in for more and more. The novel, they land on the contract. And I feel like you get a lot of wows. Like people that are either doing contracts themselves or they hired an agency, like I have to, every time I do a collection, I have to do a different contract. And then they hear what you're doing with this, and it just, all you hear is wow. It doesn't matter where they hit within this group of this team, it's just a wow. So I love that personally, and then that just makes me want to just spend all of my extra time
There's something for everyone. There's literally something for everyone.
Stuff with this crap. Like I own this, so I'm going to do whatever I want with it. So thank you for that, because I really enjoy, like, you're an element of that. You're an element of all of it. But so I just wanted to thank you personally for doing that, because that's amazing. When I hear that, like, oh, I didn't know you could do that, or wow. Or, there was another project that right after we came out with the birthdays, they came out with the birthdays too, or they did something similar, and they tried to tout it as they they created this themselves when they could have, I don't know, could have said, hey, thanks for sharing that with us, or we saw that you guys did that and we wanted to do that too. Like, I'm sure copycatting is going to happen, right? But
which we
what they
endorse
can't
it.
do is
flattering.
Right, but then we're on to the next thing. Like, so now we're doing this, and now how are they gonna they can keep up, they can do whatever they want, but yeah. So I think it's funny too. Like, you see the world kind of just taking things, and it's fine, but
imitation is the best form of flattery.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, you've stumbled onto something good if somebody's trying to imitate it, right?
Exactly.
Right.
But again, to your point, right? Because this is exactly what we've done. We've taken that piece of it, and then if people like it so much that they replicate it, we're already on to the next component, right? So we're trying to stay a couple steps ahead on it. But the humbleness side of everybody involved in this project, we're not out there banging our chest saying we're the first to do this, we're the best to do that.
Right.
I mean, I guess we kind of made that claim with the book, but that literally was the first written, community written novel that was out there. We researched that, we looked into that, and we didn't find anything that came close to that at this level. But all of the other pieces of it, again, if it highlights what we're doing, that's a good thing, right? To keep everything close to the chest and to say, no, we did that first and we'll go to war, like, that's not our style. So competition is good, but collaborative competition is better, right? So if people in their community are exposed to that same element and they can get exposed to ours as well, regardless on who did it first. I mean, that's not the important part. The one thing that I've come to learn, because it's been a lot over 18 months, right? The industry has gone through hell and back. It's been up, it's been down. The hype and the FOMO and the hot air and all of the marketing strategies and stuff that were put in play at the beginning were destined to fail. And we recognized that very, very quickly. And we did not want to get caught in that trap. There was elements of this that were leading us down there at the very, very beginning. And it's not a sustainable business model, right? It's a quick cash grab. And that ultimately leads you to go somewhere you don't want to be. It's setting expectations with people that are not in it for the root of what you're trying to do with the project. And that's. Did I lose you guys?
Yeah. Just for a second.
Just blink for a little bit, but that's fine.
So that's really where we wanted to kind of focus and shift and say, look, we did not want to be that type of project. We're here to stay. And, as we continuously evolved everything, it became clear that whatever roadmap we have is all about what we've done. It's not about what we're going to do. What we're going to do is going to be where everybody helps us get to. But what we've done is a longer resume than what we can claim we're about to do. And that's, every step of the way we've done with this, all these new people that come in and say, wow. And, now they're on board and, you have some really great people that come in at different phases of this entire project and they've elevated it to that next level. I guess each of you guys are a perfect example of that. But each one of those different phases allows us to, or challenges us, I should say, to continuously make it better, more engaging, and more fun, right? And Frank has obviously a very artistic side of things, Krista as well, and like their fear is that the art will never live up to expectations. The advancement of the art will not live up to the expectations of the community. And sometimes you got to take yourself down a step and just view it from what everybody's experience is like. Put yourself in the shoes of the community rather than, the one that's pulling your hair out, running around, pulling levers behind curtains and stuff and, going nuts. Because when you live, breathe, and, and deal with this pretty much every day, all day, sometimes you get caught into the weeds. The art is amazing. Yeah, the art is amazing. The elements that we add later on are just going to enhance everything that has happened. I mean, I told Frank this the other day. I said, dude, look at your first renditions of the bunnies, the backgrounds, and look at where they're at now, right? I mean, you're going to tell me that there's no evolution there? You're going to tell me that your
Yeah.
process has not evolved? And what was the cause of that evolution? Did you take classes? No, you sat there and you worked with people and you figured out what they liked, what they didn't like, and why, and how that worked into the overall story. The interactive and the ideas that kept flowing from the community only enhanced your artistic capabilities. Same thing on my end, right? Everybody that had their input within every component of this project, everything from the TCG to the backstories of the bunnies. I mean, the backstories of the bunnies is sort of like an inside look at everybody's personality behind this project. Right? We can build things around that to make it more unique, make it more personal, make it more of a community-led thing. And we're trying to do that at every step of the way. TCG, technology, art, story, all of it. The rabbit hole game, the evolution of the rabbit hole game, everything outside with respect to merch and t-shirts, like all these things we're trying to personalize for everybody to get the best bang for their buck and to, I guess, make sure that they know they are here as a family member.
Well, bang for the buck as what we have got, mate. That is definitely one thing I can say. Non-financial, bang for your buck. You're guaranteed to get up. Like, again, non-financial, and it was great having you here as a founder, as an ultimate fan, and would love to have you again and again, because I know we could continue to talk for hours and hours, and our last match went for an hour and a bit, and we were trying to keep it more entertaining for the listeners. But man, we would definitely love to have you again in the future. And you're never going to run out of stuff that we want to hear. That's for sure.
Yeah, we got a lot of them, man. So happy to be back. I'm telling you, this is an honor. I'm thrilled with what you guys are doing here. This is great. And anytime you want me to ramble on and on again, just let me know.
Oh man,
Awesome.
Yeah. We're so glad you could be here. Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks. We appreciate it. We are going to remove you from the chat or from the stream. I guess it's not a chat. We will say goodbye. And we look forward to obviously seeing you in the community and, talking to you later. But this was an honor to have you on our show. So we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck
Have a
with
good
your
one.
football this weekend.
Thanks.
Stay on top. Stay on top. Go blockchain ninjas. See you later.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone for tuning in, man. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, because I know there's smiles from ear to ears for us the majority of the time. If we weren't trying to work out what Jack was saying, because he's
Jackberd, yeah, he's the ultimate professional. Like he listens to the
Sign my
community.
book too.
You have a signed book? Oh, nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you didn't bring that up while he was on. Oh,
Yeah.
No.
Next time you can show him.
Well,
I
I wrote all these questions down that I either have to Google or ask him next time I see him.
about this stuff. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So, but
Awesome. No, we appreciate the fans. There are so many great people in this community. Mike is just one of them, and he is our Jackberd, an integral part of the story. Like the first book that BBS was just showing is just a great read, for kids of all ages, and we're still just giant kids, so we really love this. So I don't know. I don't have anything else, guys. Do you have anything else before we close?
No, Disco said we need a little pun to end with, but we still haven't quite got there. But definitely see you in the Discord. Welcome to the Fluffle if you joined while listening. But yeah.
You'll find me in the rabbit hole, and then that's it.
There'll be no icons left.
I found out there is going to be plenty of icons left. I know they threatened it last week and said Brian was going to get them all, but then they reassured us. Don't worry,
we'll find more. Yeah, or I'll sell them back to them. No, I'm just kidding. Awesome, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This was great. Thanks, community. We'll definitely continue to do this, and we look forward to bringing on more people from the community like yourself. So if you're in the Discord and you see the call for guests, please sign up. We can't do this without you. If not, it's just the three of us sitting around rambling and talking about everything we love. Yeah, we can do that all day, But thank you very much for tuning in, and we look forward to having you on the show. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today, Ultimate Fan. BBS, Lord L, and Brian, that's me, do hope you enjoyed today's program as much as we did, where Ultimate fans like you are the stars of the show. We'd be honored to have you join us on a future episode where you can share your story and love of the Battle Bunnies with this encouraging community. It would be the greatest compliment if you shared something you love about the Battle Bunnies on your favorite social platform today, like X, Facebook, or Instagram, and tagged us. Or simply use hashtag UltimateFancast so we can recognize and celebrate with you and other super fans by sharing your post. Bonus points if you do both and use an image of one of your favorite Battle Bunnies or a screenshot of this episode. We know you share, like, and comment because you care about our fellow Ultimate fans as much as we do. Please leave comments too to let us know how we can make this the greatest fan experience for the Battle Bunnies community. This podcast is sponsored by Hairstream Media, your bunnies all the time streaming service. Okay, not really. It is just us fans like you giving some of our time to support other fans like you. Join us over in the Battle Bunnies community and Discord to continue the fun. We hope you tune in with us each week. So make it easy. Subscribe now. We'll be here to keep you hopping when you need us.